Good morning. This is the Pennington County Planning Commission meeting of March 24th, 2025. Recommendations of the Planning Commission on certain items from this agenda will be considered by the Board of Commissioners at their regular meeting on April 1st, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. The Planning Commission utilizes speaker request forms which are available in the Commission chambers during this meeting. First item is roll call. Jerry. Everyone's here. Lori's on Zoom. Commissioner Durr is here. Okay. Approval of the March 10th, 2025 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the March 10th, 2025 minutes. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay. Approval of the agenda. The chair would adopt or address a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All
Aye.
opposed? Consent agenda.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brittany Molitor, Planning Director. The following items have been placed on the consent agenda for action to be taken on all items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration. The findings of this planning commission on certain items from this agenda are recommendations to the Pennington County Board of Commissioners, who will make the final decision. Item number 4 is conditional use permit review CUR 0514 for Desiree Kurzov to review a single-wide manufactured home as a single-family residence in a suburban residential district, and staff recommends to continue conditional use permit review CUR 0514 with conditions. Item number 5 is conditional use permit review CUR 1822 for Hayyard Hills LLC, Rodney Slather, to review a vacation home rental in a rural residential district, and staff recommends approval of conditional use permit review CUR 1822 with conditions. Item number 6 is conditional use permit review CUR 2159 for David Keywell and Christine Lepore to review an accessory structure, a shed prior to a primary structure in a suburban residential district, and staff recommends approval of conditional use permit review CUR 2159 with conditions. Item number 7 is conditional use permit review CUR 2219 for Stephen and Janae Bell to review an accessory dwelling unit located in a garage in an agriculture district, and staff recommends approval of conditional use permit review CUR 2219 with conditions. Item number 8 is conditional use permit review CUR 2235 for Jeff and Leah Lick to review living in a mobile home while building a single-family residence in an agriculture district, and staff recommends approval of conditional use permit review CUR 2235 with conditions. Item number 9 is conditional use permit review CUR 2306 for Black Hills Church of Christ to review an illuminated on-premise sign within 1,500 feet of a residential district in a highway service district. Staff recommends approval of conditional use permit review CUR 23-06 with conditions. And finally, item 10 is conditional use permit review CUR 2336 for Daniel and Gretchen Thibault to review a guest house in an agriculture district, and staff recommends approval of conditional use permit review CUR 2336 with conditions.
Thank you. Does staff wish to have any items removed from this?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Does the board wish any items removed for separate consideration?
Madam Chair, number 4 and number 6.
Okay. Any others? Okay, the chair would address a motion to approve consent agenda with the exception of item number 4 and item number 6.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Item number 4.
Cody, we can get you off the stand quick. The only reason I had it pulled was the date for continuance has to be specific. In other words, the first, I found it in your instructions, but we the front one, where we were approving the consent, doesn't have any date. So it's October something. Can you give me a little help on that one?
Yeah, you had October 2025 in your third condition.
Yeah, just the first meeting, I didn't have the meeting date. I think Charlie's looking for the meeting date.
Only because of what we were approving under the consent calendar didn't have anything.
Yeah. So it'd be the first meeting in October. Jerry can get you that meeting
Okay.
date here in a second.
I just wanted to add that, make sure it was for the record, because we have to have a date for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, October 12th.
October 12th.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me.
13th?
I'm in
13th?
2026.
Okay.
They're October 13th.
Didn't mind him,
So it'll be the 14th, because Jerry,
14th.
Brittany said that's Native American Day.
Oh,
So October 14th.
14th, because
Thank
of the
you.
holiday?
Yes.
I didn't
Okay.
mean to be cumbersome, but we should have a date there.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion, Charlie?
Yes, I'd move to approve CUR 0514 with, I believe it's 3 conditions.
To continue to,
Yes, to continue to October 14th.
Okay.
Sorry.
Second.
discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? And then item 6.
Morning, Commissioners. Jason Dennison. Assistant
Jason?
Planning Director.
I didn't have anything on your work on that, I'm just flipping to it here, excuse me. But I had a lot of concerns on this one. I had a constituent call from up in that area, and they had some concerns about this particular one, and what they noted to me sure seems to be, if you look at the first picture on the page 3 of 4, there's additional plugins over by the whatever you call it, the building we're looking at approving, I guess accessory structure. And then if you look on the next page, 4 of 4, you've got all the slides out on this RV. You got a barbecue grill by the door and a picnic table. The call I had that this gets used regularly, and during the summer, there's as many as 7 other RVs on this site.
So this property, the way it sits right now in these pictures, is exactly the same way it was in 2021 when this CUP was approved.
Okay, but they also said that the person that called me said that there is but you're telling me that these aren't being used? People don't usually leave their slides out on their RV.
Well, I can tell you, I didn't go up there on the weekend, so I didn't see it, but I did go up there on that last Monday, and there were no vehicles up there. There was no indication that it was being lived in at that point.
Then the other thing is that they told me that there is some type of tank or something out by the road. For a
Yep,
dump.
there is a tank. It's not by the road. You can almost see it in this picture here. Let me see if I can zoom in.
But they said these other RVs were dumping into it.
Yeah, there's a tank back here. It's an above ground sort of storage holding tank, but it's not none of
Okay.
these pipes are hooked up to anything.
No,
More or less.
these folks thought it was a septic, and I said, no, it could
No,
be a
it's-
holding tank if it was by the
It's
road.
definitely not no, there was nothing in it. It was just a box sitting back there, basically.
All I was proposing was that we at least, just from the pictures, after I got the phone call, just from the pictures I see here, I'd be concerned as to whether they use it on and off, but that's my own opinion. I think they're pulling our leg. People don't leave their RV slides out without using.
Madam Chair?
these.
Yes,
Can I ask a question too?
Go ahead.
yes.
I'm done, thank you.
That's fine. Sorry, I thought you were finished.
No, I'm done, thank you.
Would we, if this was all like, if this is a big family that has a bunch of people that go up there several times during the summer, would we be concerned about that because of the number? Or wouldn't we care if it's like a big family?
I'm not sure that we take into the family size into consideration for this. It is a specific condition on this CUP that this is used for storage only and not to be inhabited.
So if they have like a bunch of RVs, they're storing up, or that's okay, but it's not okay if they're even staying there for like the weekend, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
The thing that convinced me to think more about this was these additional plugins. Why do you have additional plugins if you're just, we're approving a building as a, what, an accessory unit? Is that what it
The
is?
accessory structure is what
Yeah,
they use it for,
accessory
yeah.
structure. What do you need the additional plugins for? So that was why I thought we should take a deeper look at it. This person isn't gonna come forward and make a writing, but they said if we knocked on the door, and I said we don't normally do that, you'll find out from the other neighbors too that parties go on at this place all summer long.
Yep, and we operate on a complaint basis only.
Sure.
So if we would have been contacted, we would have opened a violation on the property and gone up there and done further investigation, but we haven't been made aware of
Yeah,
any.
that's what I told them. We actually have to have something go in, but I don't know. I would rather this get continued and you and I walk it, and at least then when they call back, I went and did my due diligence, but that's just me.
Jerry?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Jason. So do we count outlets on buildings and plug-ins when we approve?
No, sir.
Good answer, thank you.
The chair would address a motion on this item.
I'm going to move that we continue for a walkthrough by the next, I don't know, what's the next meeting date?
April 14th?
April 14th, day before tax day. Wow. Continue CUR 2159 to April 14th, and Jason and I take a drive up there and take a look.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to continue this item until April 14th. Discussion?
Madam Chair, can I ask another question?
Yes.
If the person put these additional outlets or plugins or whatever you want to call them, for potential future development, should that have been something that he should have stated up front and should have been included in the permit? I mean, in the condition, yeah, the condition of the permit.
Yep, so we have approved these in the past for folks to live in an RV while they build a house, a single-family residence. This wasn't the case in this situation. The applicants never indicated that they had plans to build a house within the next 2 years.
But that could be something that the applicant, if he actually had future plans or he was thinking of the future, you know, like maybe at some point in time, this will be an RV park. He should have included that in his application, correct?
Yes, I don't believe they have plans to make this an RV park, but it would have definitely
Okay, thank
been
you.
a part of the consideration and the conversation in the review.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to continue this item to April 14th for Charlie and Jason to review the property. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us up to item number 11. It's my understanding the applicant is on Zoom, if there are questions on this item.
Good morning, Kelsey Roush, planner. Item number 11 is conditional use permit COCU 25-0005 to allow an accessory dwelling unit on the subject property. The owner and applicant is Jeff and Kelly Gorman, and they are on Zoom. The location is 8412 Dunsmore Road. The zoning is suburban residential district, as is the entire neighborhood around them is suburban residential district. There's no special flood hazard. Here is the location of the property off Sheridan Lake Road, south. The zoning ordinance lists 7 criteria that the planning commission may consider in the review of conditional use permit application. They are on the screen. The requested use should not be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, or general welfare of the public. Requested use should not substantially impair or diminish the uses, values, or enjoyment of other property in the neighborhood. The requested use should not impede the normal and orderly development or improvement of the surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. An existing detached garage will be used as the ADU. The applicant will use the existing on-site wastewater treatment system that was just upgraded through the city of Rapid City for the accessory dwelling unit. And the existing approach will provide ingress and egress to minimize traffic congestion. Let's see, future land use of the property is suburban residential district, and it's consistent within this district with an approved CUP. The zoning ordinance lists criteria that must be met to allow an accessory dwelling unit. They are on the screen. This structure meets all of these criteria. And then here are pictures of the interior of the detached garage. The property, as far as we know, equalization has this structure as being finished into living space in approximately 2010. The current property owners purchased the property, I believe, in 2016. They've been renting this for quite a while, at least 6 years, according to the Airbnb website. A zoning ordinance violation was opened on the property in 2022, yes. That the property owner was operating a vacation home rental in a detached garage apartment and a vacation home rental in a basement apartment. And they have been doing this for 6 years that I know of, according to the reviews on the Airbnb website. We've been trying to work with them for the past 3 years now to get them to get into compliance. The problem was the septic system was not big enough for the current uses, and it took them quite a while to get an installer out there to upgrade the septic system. That was completed, I believe, in November, December, somewhere in there. So now the septic is large enough, and so now they were allowed to submit an application to bring this property into compliance.
Other questions for Kelsey?
Madam
Yes,
Chair?
Michael.
Go ahead.
Just a little thing. On analysis B, you're unable to perform a site visit, and you were only able to get pictures from AirBob. Should somebody from the staff go out and take a look-see?
I called the property owner and tried to get a site visit set up, but they didn't respond, so.
So how do we handle that?
I just took pictures from the website, and that's where we are at right now.
Okay.
Madam Chair, just one
Yes.
question on your number 4. It says the building permit application. The applicant provides evidence that the ADU structure meets fire code. And I see that must be based on the city's letter about the 1-hour wall.
Yes.
During our building process now, will we inspect for that?
They just have to provide proof that it meets fire code.
How do they do that? A picture, or what do they do if it's already finished out like that?
I'm not sure. I think it'll be perhaps Chip from the city fire will.
I could actually see some difficulty for them even if it was there. You'd almost have to get up like in an attic and take a picture of where the finished, go ahead, Jason, help me.
Jason Fennison, Assistant Planning Director. So we do have building inspections at this point, and it will be noted on the building permit that we go out and look at that to make sure that.
Find an area so you can see that the 1 hour,
So this is built over a garage. What we're looking for is that fire separation between the garage and the living quarters.
yeah, it's
above it.
mostly the
So-
ceiling, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're looking for, I think it's 5/8 sheetrock or 1 inch
Right.
sheetrock.
You gotta have a 1 hour, right?
Yeah, whatever, I think Chip
And taping, yeah.
said exactly what it's supposed to be. But
Any
we'll go out and
vents?
look at it at that point to make sure it's in there.
Okay. I just wondered whether we do that during our process, since Chip is referring to it, that we do it. Okay. Thank you.
Are there other questions for Kelsey? I have one. Would it be an appropriate motion then to continue this until the applicant allows an on-site visit?
No? That would be-
Why?
That would be fine with me. I mean,
Any applicants on Zoom? I would question then, would you be willing to have an on-site visit?
I think we had someone come out the first go-around, I believe, maybe prior to Chichima, I believe is her name. They did come out to our property.
What was the first go-around in 2022?
Yeah, I believe Chichima was that girl's name. You could maybe look back.
Right, came out, look.
She and Dwayne.
Chutima did do a site visit with Dwayne. They took pictures basically like this, but they did not look, I don't believe, in the garage to see if there's, and at that point, we didn't have comments from the city fire or county fire pertaining to the 1 hour fire. So at that point, they were not looking for that, and neither of them would have been trained at that point to look for that, so.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for the applicant?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just curious why it took 3 years to upgrade the septic.
Well, I can explain that because it cost $17,000 to get it done.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And in addition, it took a long time to actually try to find someone. They're very busy and called everybody on that list multiple times, just so you know.
Thank you.
And during those 3 years, were you actually renting out your Airbnb and the accessory dwelling?
At times, yes, we typically would do 3 months on, and then the rest of the time is midterm rentals for traveling healthcare professionals, which is consistent now.
Okay. Board, what's your?
I would go along with your thoughts on that, on a motion to continue till the staff goes out and eyeballs the thing.
Is that a motion?
I can make
To
it one,
continue
yes.
that?
I would make a motion for that.
Jason?
Just one comment. So this is approving the use of an accessory dwelling unit on the property. Any kind of details about the structure itself can be handled through the building permit process. We're going to go out and do an inspection. They still need to apply for a building permit.
How soon would that be, do you think?
Well, they have a 30-day appeal period before we can, if you approve it today, before we can approve the building permit, but then we would get out there right after that to do the inspection and approve the permit.
So you're comfortable with that rather than somebody going out beforehand?
Correct, yeah. I think we have documentation and photos from previous site visits corroborated by the Airbnb pictures. Fairly confident we're going to walk in there and see exactly what we see in those pictures.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'll accept Jason's thoughts on this and back off.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Jerry? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve this item. Conditional use permit review, COCU 25-0005 with 15 conditions. Discussion?
Yes, we didn't say, and you indicated 15 condition. Will the applicant give the 15 conditions so they understand the next steps in the process? In other words, we're dealing with the accessory dwelling. I agree with Jason on this.
And I did forget to add a condition to have the applicant sign the statement of understanding within, I forgot to add that condition. So if we could add a condition that the statement signs the statement of understanding within, is it 60 days, 30 days? 30 days. Just making sure they understand.
Condition number 16, in other words,
16?
yes.
So we should make it number 14 and move 14 and 15 down.
Okay.
That'd be fine with my motion.
Will that be okay with a second? Okay.
Yeah, if I'm the second, that's okay.
And then you understood that my point was that I do believe that we sometimes, and we hear it from the constituents out here, that they didn't understand or know the conditions involved, but I think your statement, understanding, and that should solve that. But I do think people should get copies of these when they're
Yes.
very rigid.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
So we've had a motion and a second to approve item number 11 with 16 conditions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Item number 12, preliminary plan COPPL 25-0001.
Cody Sack, Senior Planner. Item 12 is preliminary plan COPPL 25-0001. It's to reconfigure lot lines to create Lot 1DR, Lot 2R, and Lot 3R of black metal number 4 load, MS 1986. The applicant and landowner is Betty Johnson. Surveyors, DC Scott Surveyors. Location of the property is 23865 and 23871 Deegan Road and 12487 Tall Pine Road. Current zoning is rural residential district. Access off Deegan Drive, and there is no special flood hazard area on the property. So what the applicants are proposing to do, in pink is the current lot lines. In green is what the new lot line will be. So as you can see, they're just shifting that lot line that runs north-south over, and the one that runs like east-west up. So they're really just adjusting that lot line. The certificates need to be corrected to reflect a preliminary plan, and the road district needs to, road district 1 needs to say road district authorized representative instead of the highway department. And then the only other issue was that an observation form in 2021 shows that there's a steel tank. State statute only allows steel tanks to be in for 7 years. So that would need to be replaced prior to the applicants submitting a final plan, which has been made a condition of approval. So with that, staff does recommend approval of preliminary plan, COPPL 25-0001 with conditions.
Are there questions for staff?
Just one, Cody. If you go to the picture that you included, it looks to me like there's a structure on each one of the lots. Is that true, or what am I looking at here?
So I think that 1D, it looks like there's a structure on there. I think that had been removed. I didn't see anything on Equalization's website for it either. This mobile, there is a mobile home that's stored on this property that's been there for a while. There's no septic, but there's also no running water to that site. So the only one that's actually livable is on this Lot 3R, or will be Lot 3R. That's the only one with an actual livable structure on the property.
Okay. Very good. I just noted that that's something we usually see included in the survey.
Yeah, so I do apologize. There was a survey,
Yeah.
almost like a mortgage survey that did show structures, and it showed that this structure was not on site anymore, and Equalization site didn't show anything on there.
Thank you, Cody.
Are there any other questions for staff? The chair would address a motion on this item.
Move to approve.
Go ahead.
Second, with 5 conditions.
5 conditions, yep.
It's been moved and seconded to approve preliminary plan COPPL 25-0001 with 5 conditions. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Item number 13.
Megan Talmadge, planner. Agenda item number 13 is Planned Unit Development Overlay COPU 25-0001, and is to allow a planned unit development overlay for a specialty resort. This is located north of the intersection of Rochford Road and Silver Creek Road, pretty close to the, I believe it's Lawrence County there, border. And staff recommends to continue this item to the April 14th Planning Commission meeting and the May 6th Board of Commissioners meeting to allow for further comment.
I would note that we do have a number of objections in our packet, plus several more that have come in this over the weekend or that are available to us this morning, so.
And in addition to that, the property owner sent in her own
Yes.
narrative.
Yes,
Yep.
correct. Are there questions for Megan?
Megan, this is a tough one, and I've read the concerns or the objections, as well as I've read Ms. Wilburn's. One of the most critical things, because I've driven by this a number of times in the fall and spring, and there is a lot of water change in the up and down in this, not necessarily long-term that you would think where it gets above the normal flow, but it's still there. Is there a way to look at this where we could see like the floodplain separate from the rest of the drawings?
Yeah, so there's actually no floodplain as indicated by FEMA on this property. There is.
Happened too.
Yeah, there is wetlands, which I can include a diagram of that in the next staff report that will be available. But the floodplain starts further south where Silver Creek meets, I think it's Rapid Creek. So I was out on the site as well last week, spent probably about an hour and a half walking through, looking at it. And that's something that I noticed as well. This stream is definitely a stream that flows year-round. The permitting that would be involved with it would actually be through the Corps of Engineers for the streamline, and then for the wetlands, I believe that is the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources. And maybe that would also be through the Corps. I'm still trying to figure that out, and that's why I'm allowing for further comment, is that I'm in conversations with multiple of these entities to try to figure out some more exacts that I can put in the conditions.
I think you're correct. And I remember following the 72 flood, the government doesn't automatically issue floodplain drawings or specifications from theirs. And this must have been an area that they didn't do such, where they figured a stream was doing that, or maybe it didn't do it often enough or meet their criteria, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
And it may have been the lay of the land. It could, who knows what their criteria was before they would issue that. That's a good point. Wow. Because this, I've seen a lot of water across there when I've driven. And some of these oppositions do note that at certain times of the year, or floods, spring rains. They don't necessarily last a long time. I'm going to say they were back down to maybe reasonable, or what you would think the stream would be reasonable, within 4 days, 5 days, a lot of times, just short blasts. But we've had them up there. I live up not too far. Interesting. But I just assumed we'd be able to see some sort of floodplain definition.
Like I said, the FEMA maps do indicate that there's floodplain, but it is south of the property.
Correct.
So there's floodplain in the area, just not particularly on that property.
Right. I was just meaning that I believe I've understood where that's happened before, where due to some criteria that the government sets up and issues those guidelines on, or the maps that we look at, they weren't all encompassing. Sometimes there was areas like this that didn't have one defined. Thank you.
There is a specification for like unstudied area, if that's what you're,
Is there?
yes.
What
but,
what does that say if you've looked at it?
if you look at the maps, it's literally just a large blank area in the flood map. It's kind of like this lighter green color. Here, I'll show it to you if you're willing to bear with me for just a couple seconds. So this is indicated as a study area per FEMA.
And then maybe I have a question. Is this sort of thing, my next question or follow-up was, is this reviewed in the building process?
Yes.
Building permit process?
Yes.
Okay.
We would need some sort of letter from the approving entities, such as the state.
If it falls into one of
Yeah,
those?
if it needs like I believe it's called a Section 401 permit, we would require that with the building permit.
So it is addressed in the building permit process?
Yes. So the unstudied areas are indicated by these light green blotches in here,
Okay.
whereas you can see the floodplain otherwise.
Yeah,
Here is the area that we are talking about where The floodplain is just south of the property, actually. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further, Michael?
Charlie, we had the same thing with Burnt Fork, if you remember, when we were trying to do those three in there. And
Right.
it said no flood, whatever, and we got looking, and we were talking about water does come through there. And then we came up with the fact that FEMA had not done anything on that one. So same kind of, we ended
I
up
beg
okaying
you
it,
remember what you're talking
Yeah.
about, sure.
but anyhow.
Okay. Any other questions for Megan?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment. I think that the letter from, I think it was the Werners, and his description of that flood that was 10 plus years ago was like, why would you want to be there?
Agreed.
But in defense, Lori, I'd have to say, when I was up there during that, I'm on Slate Creek. And Slate Creek, 2 out of 3 years went way, way over the banks. And we had excessive water, and that was when I went by and saw these. So there was certainly a lot of excessive water. But since then, boy, they say 10 years, that's probably about right. They haven't. So it's one of those things that is kind of to me, related to floodplain. In other words, it can only handle so much, and both of them were from rain. They weren't from runoff from the snow. They were later in the spring.
It just doesn't seem like it would be a good location for a bunch of people that aren't familiar with the area.
Okay. Are there any comments from the audience? Questions? No? The chair would address a motion on this item. To continue,
Move to continue, I've got to flip to the.
April 14th is the date.
To the April 14th, is that what it was? I got to get to the right page. Item number 13 with,
COPU 25
yeah, I get it. COPU 25-0001 to April 14th. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to continue this item to the April 14th meeting. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Okay, motion carried. There isn't an executive session today. County Board report.
The Board of Commissioners concurred with the Planning Commission's recommendations from the March 10th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting.
Okay. Items from the public. Our public is stepping out as we speak. Items from staff. Nothing. Items from the membership.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'll be attending the April 14th meeting in person, but I will be absent from the April 28th meeting.
Okay. April 20th, you'll be gone, okay. April 28th.
Yeah, I'll be there in person for the first meeting in April.
Okay.
Hope we can find a chair.
Chair would address the motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed?
Rock and
Thank
roll.
you.